Jacques Cousteau had a huge impact on my life. Growing up, he was my hero. I wanted to be him. I wanted to be a marine biologist. Our oceans, the cradle of life, hold immeasurable value, not only for the health of our planet, but for the well-being of humanity. The vast blue waters teeming with life are essential for regulating our climate, supporting our biodiversity, and providing sustenance to millions. Among the treasures of the sea, marine omega-3 fatty acids, primarily found in fish and microalgae, stand out as vital nutrients for human health. Omega-3 fatty acids such as EPA, DHA are crucial for maintaining heart health, support brain function, and reduce inflammation. They are a gift from the ocean to humanity, underscoring the profound connection between the health of our seas and our own. However, this precious gift comes with a cautionary tale. The very waters that nurture life are increasingly threatened by pollution, including mercury and heavy metals, plastics. As these contaminants accumulate in the marine life, they pose a risk to the very benefits we seek. Therefore, it is imperative that we approach our consumption of marine resources with awareness and responsibility. We must advocate for cleaner oceans free from scourge of industrial pollutants to ensure that future generations can continue to reap the health benefits of omega-3 without accompanying risk. By safeguarding our oceans, we not only preserve the intricate web of marine life, but also protect a vital source of nutrition for ourselves. In every drop of ocean water, there is a story of interdependence. Let us honor this connection by striving for a balance that sustains both the marine ecosystem and our own health. Our future and the future of our oceans are intertwined in this delicate dance of life. Okay, this is the new podcast. Let's dive right in. In 2009, a Harvard study identified that low levels of marine source omega-3 fatty acids attributed to 84,000 deaths a year, equaling that of trans fats. Now, think about it. We know how bad trans fats are. So, a decline in omega-3 has the same effect as trans fats. Phenomenal. I've got one more coming up later, so stay tuned. Okay, what are omega-3s? Well, they're polyunsaturated fatty acids, and they have abundant effects on our body from our whole life through. So it's a life course approach, from birth to death, from brain development and intelligence, to heart health, to mood, to depression, to effects on our gut biome, effects on our nervous system, our eyes, everything. Is it important? Absolutely. And do we have to clear it once and for all? Yes. So this episode, we're going to clear some stuff out. We're going to look at the new research. We're going to look at, can we convert omega-6 to omega-3s? How do we do that? We're going to look at what the best sources are of omega-3, how to get it, what levels we need to be at. Is too much bad? Is too little bad? What's the sweet spot? Welcome to another Visser podcast. Subscribe, link the bell notification, send this to friends, and let's grow this channel. So let's do a quick check on the benefits. Function of the brain, which I said before, cardiovascular system, growth development system, lowers blood pressure, reduces triglycerides in the blood, helps reduce joint inflammation in rheumatoid disease, and inflammation in total. help nourish brain and eyes functions, help prevent and alleviate dementia, depression, asthma, migraines, diabetes, and helps reduce the risk and prevention of heart disease and ischemic stroke. So you may or may not know this. It's well-known knowledge. It's one of the supplements that's been most studied. The research is plentiful, but we've had a little hiccup. Okay, so let's start with how do we measure omega-3 fatty acids? Well, we measured it in our red blood cells with the omega index. It's a lab test you can request. It's the best lab test because it really looks at 120 days of your habit forming. So, one day being good or 2 days being good is not going to influence the test because we're looking at 20 days with this. So it gives us a better long-term picture of where you're at. And where you need to be at is around 8% to about 12%, but more towards the 8. So where do we get it from? Well, salmon, sardines, mackerel. We also get it from microalgae. And that's why I emphasize marine sources. And I didn't say fish. So we do get it from fish. But macroalgae is interesting because that's where the fish get it from. And so if we can get it from macroalgae, we kind of like cut out the middleman, especially for your vegans. This is perfect. And you can get microalgae omega-3 supplements. So look those up. There's not that many companies, but there are, and you can get it. But if not, regular omega-3, EPA, DHA specifically. And as I said before, there is a difference. If you look at omega-6 and you look at the omega-3s, the ALA, of course, EPA and DHA. Now, we know that you can convert ALA to EPA and DHA. It is possible. But there's two things. One, it's very inefficient. And two, it's genetically dependent, meaning that you have the genes to do it, and most of us don't. Now, there's one exception, and that's pregnant women. Pregnant women, like when their estrogen is jacked to the roof, right, in pregnancy, that conversion happens very easily. So the conversion from ALA to EPA and DHA. And guess why it happens? This is nature. This is evolution. It happens to protect the baby's brain. It happens to give the baby the maximum intelligence possible. Here's a second fact that'll blow your mind. And a lot of you know it. If you're in this space, you know this. But for other people that are new to this space, people that are looking for their health for the first time might not know this. It's been researched and verified that a smoker that has an 8% omega-3 fatty acid in their blood has the same life expectancy as a non-smoker with a 4% omega index. Think about that. Smoking, one of the worst things you can do for your body. One of the worst things you can do for cardiovascular disease. You name it. Omega-3 levels it out. Now, that doesn't mean to go smoke. I'm just telling you. This is an example of how important this is. Okay, so you're going, what about mercury in the fish? We know there's mercury. We know the oceans are polluted. We know we have an issue. I'm not even going to talk about farmed fish with the antibiotics, with everything that goes in there. All right, I'm talking wild salmon, mercury, depending on where it was fished, when, etc. Some fish have more. Swordfish you shouldn't be eating. Their omega-3 profile is very low, and their heavy metals is very high. Barracuda is one of the things that we do eat in the Caribbean, but in other countries they don't. because they're bottom dwellers and they eat everything. Metal, glass, doesn't matter. They eat everything that shines. So these are issues that we're dealing with our food source. So it's a legitimate question. But here's a study in, let's see here, 2015, American Journal of Pediatrics. Children had better outcomes and intelligence with higher omega-3, even with mercury being elevated. Omega-3 even protects against mercury. Yeah. Children, omega-3, I mean, throughout our life, but especially our children, they need their omega-3s. Like, I remember when my mom used to, made me swallow cod liver oil. Thank God we got supplements, man. Holy smokes. So, yeah, some of us have those memories if you're old enough. But it's true. We need to get back to it. It's very important. So this other study came out, 2021, European Journal of Internal Medicine. Yep. AFib, atrial fibrillation. This is when your heart just starts like. AFib came up. One study. Okay. We're talking, let's put it in perspective. Everyone across the board has a 4% chance of getting AFib. In this study, it showed that it went from 4 to 4.6%. 0.6%. So keep it in perspective, okay? But it's something we need to look at. All right. We know that taking omega-3 fatty acids reduces the risk of ischemic attacks, heart failure, heart attacks, cardiovascular. This is the research. This has been researched back and forth. So how does AFib come up? Well, it came up with overdoses of omega-3 fatty acids, which destabilize the cell walls in the heart and actually causes a delay in messaging of the nerves, the electronic messaging that says, okay, contract. So what you're getting is like multiple contractions, offbeat contractions. And so when we look, and there's a whole pathway, I'm not going to go into it because we're going to be here for days. So when we look closely at it, it's a high dose. It's an overdose. Okay. The same study will tell you that if you are low in omega-3s, you will have heart problems. And that if you're low, your chance of death is much higher. Omega-3s will give you a 5-year extension on life. Extend life by 5 years at good levels. So we're like, okay, well, what do we do with this? Well, when we look at the research, and even though when you do get AFib, not to go further into more heart disease, they tell you to take omega-3s with the rest of the drugs that you're taking. So let's bring it back. What it showed us is that omega-3 is dose dependent, meaning you got to have the sweet spot. That's why I want you to test. But if you don't test, it's okay. We kind of know where we need to be at with supplementation and with the food. So what we're looking at, the sweet spot being between 8% and 12%. And that's in your index. Okay, so that's the red blood cell test, blood test. If you're under it, it's a horror story. If you're above it, this 0.6 chance increase of getting AFib can happen, which in the big scheme of things is not a big one, but we need to look at it. So we looked at it, okay? And we put it in perspective. If you're someone that has AFib in your family or you're concerned about it, there's 2 things you can do, simply. One is don't get hypertension. That leads to atrial fibrillation. Second one, sleep apnea. Now, most people have sleep apnea because they're overweight or obese. So drop the weight. All right? And if you can't do it yourself, there's ways to do it. Go to your physician, drop your weight. That will most likely solve it for most people, not all. Okay? For the rest of that small group that's left over, that's like a unique group, seek medical help because sleep apnea will lead to atrial fibrillation. Those are the two. If we can prevent those two, we're golden. Okay? So don't even worry about the fish oils. Now, the fish oils, when we're looking at how much do we take, 1.2 to 2 grams per day. That's it. Or, eat fish 3-4 times a week. That's a little too much for me. And not only that, but to get real good fish, it's expensive. To make sure that your fish comes from an area that is clean, that it doesn't have toxins, even harder. So I kind of do fish. Yes, Mediterranean diet. I eat fish. I eat seafood, but I don't overdo it. I don't go bananas on it. I kind of, go on it. I don't want that many heavy metals in my body, really. And so I err on being cautious. So I supplement. Yes. And you should too. And if you're vegan, you absolutely need to supplement because you can't get the omega-3s that we're talking about, marine omega-3s, from nuts and seeds. Can't. Not going to do it. So you need to supplement. All right. Thank you. Hope this was informative. Stay tuned. We got much more coming. And we're going to get you to the best health you've ever known. Stick with me. Subscribe, ring the bell notification, invite your friends. Welcome to the channel if this is your first time. And another side note, the episode before this was on C15, which as you know is also a fatty acid. Very different one. The difference between C15 and omega-3 is quite a bit, but the key area for the cell wall, and when we're talking cell wall, protection of the cell wall, in every cell of our body, red blood cells, every cell. The C15 strengthens and hardens the shell, really protects it. Omega-3, you have to see as all these double bonds, making it more flexible and pliable. So we need it strong and we need it flexible. We need both. That's the message. Take care.